Love having freaking problems with that stuff. That's clean. Hmm. That's it then. And believe a piece of paper is destroying the entire set. Look at that. Hold still. There. Screw it. Fun little wrestling match, eh? N8XLQ. Video monitors up. November 8th. Excuse me. X-Ray Lima, Quebec. Testing the YouTube connection. Ladies and gentlemen, it's up and running again. Thank God. N8XLQ. Thank God. Let's go. Get a little closer. Let's see. Not much. Vertigo. Sorry, guys. don't don't jump out of the airplane yet, man. That's a little better.
Nothing heard, and APP is clear.
See, that's good and loud. This isn't up at all. This one's gonna, the 300 on the right here, that's monitoring the input 146,805. That's what that is. The 400 is listening to 432.410 over here. Right there. I like the clock. That should be good right there. And radio gods prevail today in a favorable way for us. I'll crank up the MP just a little bit, see what those speakers sound like. Maybe even the 847 that's doing the 6-meter booster. You guys, if you've got an Earth Station 847, the FT 847 Earth Station from Yaesu, that's the box that does range extension. It extends down through 50 meter, 6 meters. That's it. It doesn't go to 10 or anywhere else lower. It's VHF, UHF only. One way. If you hit the AB button on the 847, you can reverse the process and talk out of the 6-meter box. And every time you stop, you got to hit the AB button and switch it back so you can listen. Time. N8XLQ, standing by.
WP8LLY.
Oh, we're going to have squelchies.
Morning. Welcome to the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Desk. This is Jeff, WB8REI. I'm located here in Tiffin, and we're coming to you via the Republic Repeater. Good morning, everybody. Nice and beautiful morning here in North Central Ohio. Welcome to the net. Grab your coffee or whatever your favorite beverage might be at this time of the morning. If you're driving, be careful. Keep your eyes on the road. And join us here for the net. All kinds of cool stuff to talk about. I think you'll enjoy it. If you do have any formal NTS traffic, we try to take that right at the beginning of the net. We'll list that traffic. So just be aware of that. That's 10:30 a.m. session. Just let me know when you check in, and we'll, as always, take our check-ins by repeater. Starter stations on either of the two Republic repeaters, 147.255 or the 444.4375, with or without traffic call out. Kilo Alpha 8 Lima, Kilo November, KELKN. Good morning, Jeff. No traffic. KCACNA. Clay. Norwalk. Morning, Jeff. No traffic. Alpha 8, Juliet Bravo Tango, Bob and Sandusky. Good morning. Oh, Echo 8, Echo Romeo November. Jim and Tiffin. No traffic? Good morning, Jeff.
Where's that coming from?
Good morning, Jeff.
Oh.
Kilo Echo 8, Papa X-Ray, Ron from Southern Wyandotte County. Be happy to be your HF liaison for the OSFBN. I have no traffic. Good morning. All right there. Group, let me get Ron first. KEPX, good morning, Ron. Got you down as our HF liaison station this morning. The net is currently eliminating a single piece of traffic from Michigan, so stand by. I'll get to you here in just a second, Ron. We'll get that passed. KELKN, good morning, Frank. Good to hear you this morning. Good signal. KBDNA, good morning, Clay in Norwalk. Good signal, Clay. WA8JBT, good morning, Bob. Good signal from Dusty. We'll be talking to Bob here in a little bit. KEERN, good morning, Jim. Good signal, Jim. We'll be talking to Jim in a little bit. Anybody else on either the two Republic repeaters or any stations with formal traffic called out?
There it is. That sounds good.
KCWH, good morning, Jeff. No traffic. Good morning, Jeff. Kilo Charlie 8, Papa Bravo Uniform, KC8 PBU, Dan at Bascom. No traffic. Here, second KCWH, good morning, Mike. I got you. Good signal. Hey, good morning, Dan. KC8PBU, good signal, Dan. We'll be talking to Dan here a little bit too. All right, got some traffic from the net here, so let's get that taken care of first out. KEPX, WBAREI. I got a single Michigan, Ron, if you're ready to copy. Very good, Jeff. Ready to copy. Message number 44, routine. WB8REI. Check at 23. Tiffin, Ohio. August 2nd.
That's
Neil Williams. Amateur call sign. Whiskey Alpha 8. Echo Foxtrot Kilo. Two 9-1 Outer, that's OUTER, Outer Drive. Dundee, Michigan. 48131. 734. are the past figure group 1-4 years. Sure, that's S-U-R-E, will miss fails, that's Delta Alpha Lima Echo Sierra, tails, that's Tango Alpha Lima Echo Sierra. Good luck and enjoy a full retirement. Figure group 7-3, break. Jeff, W-B-A-R-E-I, end of message. Copy your message number 44, Jeff. I read that email, or the notification that he's retiring. He's done a great job for us. That's all I got. I'll be QSY to the OSSBN, K8PX. Right, Ron, thanks for picking it up. Yeah, we'll miss Dale. He was around a long time. Did a lot of good for the Great Lakes Division for sure. Thank you, Ron. KEPX of the net, WBAREI, the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Are there any other stations on either of the two Republic repeaters with or without traffic? Call now. The Polk repeater. Anybody on the Polk 443-625 machine called out? Kilo Echo 8, Romeo Whiskey, November, time in New London. Good morning, Jeff. Number 8, Tango Whiskey, Mike, Tom, Master. SLG, Nick in Orville. Good morning, sir. Chicken Whiskey, 0 Alpha Mike, November. Bob, Mobile and Ashland, no traffic. Nice group. Got just about everybody here. Let's see. KERWS. Good morning. London. Good signal, Tom. Always good to hear you. NATWM. Another Tom. Good morning, Tom. Good signal. Whiskey 0 Alpha Mike November. Good morning, Bob. I know you're mobile in Ashland. Good signal, Bob. Thank you for checking in. And good morning in Orville. I think I didn't get your call sign. Kind of got clobbered with a couple other calls there. Try it again. Kilo Delta 8 Sierra Lima Golf 88 SLG Orville. No traffic today. Thank you.
A little cheery, are you there, Nick?
All right. Good morning again, Nick. Kilo Delta 8 Sierra Lima Golf in Orville, Ohio. Nice signal. Thanks for checking in this morning. Nick. Good to hear you. Anybody else on the Polk repeater with or without traffic? Call now. This is WB8REI. This is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Now looking for stations on the Mansfield repeater. That's the UHF 443.075 machine. Call now. Whiskey Delta 8 Papa India Charlie. And I'm doing this one specifically. There is no audio coming from the link I wanted to see if there was audio this way, and there is. But there's no audio coming from the link. The ID is there, and the beep, the L for the beep is there. But there's no audio coming from the link on this repeater, WD8PIC. Hey, good morning, Bob. WD8PIC. All right. Well, thanks for the update, Bob, and your analyzing that situation there for us. I made a little note there. Maybe Pat or some of the other guys might be listening in here too, so I'm sure they appreciate any feedback like that. And thank you for checking in. You sound good on the radio down here in Tiffin this morning, so you're coming through here loud and clear. Let's see here. Any other reports on the Mansfield repeater? That's very quiet. How about the Berlin Heights repeaters? The 146.805, the 75, or the 6 meter 53.29 machines calling out.
GM and AQQI, Florida Stanza. Good morning, Jeff. Whiskey 8, Hotel Mobile, Norwalk. Okay.
November 8th, X-Ray, Lima, Quebec, Lenny, Huron City. Everybody sounds awesome today. YouTube's up and flying, Jeff.
Kilo Echo 8, Victor Oscar X-Ray, KE8, VOX, Scott, Vermillion Township, no traffic. Another nice group. Good morning, Jim and AQQI. Got you. Good signal. WW8H Mobile. Good morning, Gary. Good signal. Your audio's kind of the band's up. Seems to be up here this morning. That might have a little bit to do with that, but the audio was real light. But 100% copy, Gary. Thank you for checking in. N8X up. Q. Good morning, Lenny. Good signal, Lenny. YouTube is up. Lenny said to check out your station there, see what your signal looks like, and listen to it. KEVOX, good morning, Scott, Vermillion Township. Good signal, Scott. Thank you for checking in. Anybody else on either of the three Berlin Heights repeaters calling out?
This is Kilo Bravo 8, Tango Foxtrot Mike on the pier in Sandusky, or in Huron, Ohio.
N8XLQ, another check-in.
Good morning, Dan. Good signal from Perkins Township, Nigeria this morning. W8TTF, good morning, Mike, on the pier in Huron, Ohio. Good signal, Mike. Never know where Mike might be talking from. Anybody else? Anybody else on either of the three Berlin Heights repeaters call out?
Jeff, I'd like to check in KM8YOR if I could.
Mike 8, Yankee Oscar Romeo, KM8YOR, the other Mike here. Tell him he is checked in. Thanks for checking in with morning. Thanks for the relay.
Okay, I'll call it. He's trying.
Either of the three Berlin Heights repeaters before we check the Illyria All right, how about the Illyria repeater? That's the 443.9875 machine. Anybody there with or without traffic call now? Jeff? This is November 8th, Papa Sierra. Victor, Jerry in Grafton, and I have a question this morning. All right. Let's see. NATPS. Good morning, Rick in Parma. Good signal, Rick. This radio sounds real good this morning. And Jerry, oh my gosh, a question. Let's see if we can handle that. I don't know. KE8 Tango Sierra Victor. Good morning, Jerry, for Grafton with a question. Go ahead. Yeah. Good morning, Jeff. I was just curious. I was talking about it with friends over the last couple days. I just wondered what number I was for a new call sign. I believe I'm somewhere between 252 and 255. I could be mistaken, but I was just wondering what number I was. All right, well, I think I can handle that one. I get to bat that one over to Jim. KEEDRN. Jim, can you tell us which number Jerry is? KE8 Tango Sierra Victor. Which number he is as a check-in? Sir, your check-in number is 247. KE8 TSV. KEDRN, back to that. Okay, thank you, Jim. KEDRN and the net. WBREI. Jerry, you were thinking between 252 and 255. Jim's got down 247, and he's like the umpire. We go with whatever he's got. That's what we go with. Hopefully that doesn't mess you up too much. Back to you, Jerry. No, that seems to be about right. When I first checked in back in the day, I checked in with two other gentlemen the same week, and they were new call-ins also. So I was just trying to remember what my number was. Nothing too important, just kind of curious. Thank you for the information. Thank you, Jim, and back to you. All right, fine business, Jerry. Very good. Well, Jim helps me out a lot, and yeah, if you had a different number down in the past, I may have gotten a few things juggled around during a transition that we made here with all these different call signs. So I think we go right with what Jim's got. He keeps it pretty accurate, so you should be good to go there with number 247. Yeah, anybody else that wants to know what their number is, we keep Jim busy doing that. All right. Hey, thanks for checking in, Jerry. Great signal, by the way, from Grafton. Anybody else on the Elyria repeater with or without traffic call out? KEYUG, Josh and Avon Lee. Morning, Josh. Kilo Echo 8, Yankee Uniform Golf, and Avon Lake. Nice signal, Josh. And good to hear you this morning. Thank you for checking in. Okay, how about anybody anywhere? Anyone anywhere that would like to check into the North Central Ohio information and traffic net, call now. Net control is Key 8 MSR, Scott Leversoneski, no traffic. Good morning again, Jeff. KC8BQ for recheck. Paul in McCutcheonville, no traffic. I think we got everybody here. Kilo Echo 8, Mike Sierra Romeo. Good morning, Scott in Upper Sandusky. Really good signal, Scott. Thanks for checking in. Hi, Paul. I got Kilo Delta 8 Oscar Whiskey Oscar. You got a good signal, Paul, but do I got your call correct? Affirmative. All right, fine business. Thanks, Paul. Good to hear you this morning. And Dan, KCPD, you want to recheck. Go ahead. Jeff, I've got a developed just a little bit of a timing issue, and I have to beat feet to Toledo shortly. Would it be able to sneak in maybe fairly soon? Oh, absolutely. If you're ready right now, let's do it right now if that's a good time for you. Menishak, I am ready. Here we go. Okay. Start off with a little bit of weather. Today, sunny. High of 83. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 61. Thursday, mostly sunny. High of 86. Thursday night, partly cloudy, low of 66. Friday, mostly sunny, and then a slight chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. High of 84. Friday night, partly cloudy, low of 62. Saturday, partly sunny, high of 81. Saturday night, mostly cloudy, low of 61. Sunday, partly sunny, then a chance of showers in the afternoon with a high of 85. So, for northwest Ohio, in the middle of the summer, that doesn't sound too bad. I got some space station passes. Can't call it ISS this week. ISS must be taking a nap up there. Won't be back for a couple of weeks. But I got some tie-in gongs. I'll go through those here real quick. I got 3 of them, Jeff. First one is Sunday, August 6th, 9:45 p.m. 9:40 p.m. at exits. From the southwest, out the east. Maximum elevation is 29 degrees. And a magnitude, and these are positive magnitudes, 1.3. So there's pass number 1. Pass number 2, tie-in gong again. These are all tie-in gongs. Monday, August 7th, 10:22 p.m. Exits at 10:26 p.m. Enters from the west, exits out the east. Maximum elevation, 67 degrees. Magnitude, 0.3. And the last pass, Tuesday, August 8th, 9:23 p.m. Exits at 9:29 p.m. From the southwest, out the east. Maximum elevation, 34 degrees. And a magnitude, and keep in mind this is a positive, which is much, much dimmer than a negative, 2.4. That's really, really dim. Hopefully everybody can see it. Chuck, that's all I got for today. Thanks for squeezing me in there. Appreciate that. KCAPBU. All right, Dan. Well, thanks for jumping in here and getting it taken care of for us this morning. I know you're super busy this morning. I really appreciate you taking time out there to do that for us. Looks like some nice passes. Got all the tie-on guys done, and the weather forecast looks pretty nice for most of the rest of the week here. So good info. Thank you, Dan. And let's see. Let's pause just a second. This is WBREI, North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Are there any other stations with or without traffic call now? All right, let's go look at our HF propagation conditions here. If we can get you checked in here, we'll be pausing as we go along here, and we'll take check-ins as we go. And if you do have any formal traffic, we try to get it at the beginning of the net, but we can take it any time. We'll just get it out a little bit later in the day is all. So keep that in mind. Don't hesitate. Try it. Put a little NTS message together. Get a listing here on the net. It's good practice. It's kind of a fun thing to do. All right, let's take a look at our WWV report. The solar terrestrial indices for August 1st, yesterday's date. The solar flux was 175. The estimated planetary A index was 9. The estimated planetary K index at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on today's date, August the 2nd, was 3. 83.33. Space weather for the past 24 hours has been minor. Radio blackouts reaching the R1 level did occur. Space weather for the next 24 hours is predicted to be minor. Geomagnetic storms reaching the G1 level are likely. Radio blackouts reaching the R1 level are likely. To look at the space weather information, right now the solar wind is at 374 kilometers per second. Pretty average. That's pretty mild. The way we've been keeping track of it, it's pretty average solar wind speed. Nothing major at the moment. The coronal mass ejection, however, is expected to hit Earth's magnetic field on August 1st, yesterday, but it may have missed. So there's a hint of a weak near miss in solar wind data yesterday at about 1600, which would have been about noon our time. However, it was not geo-affected, so it didn't affect the magnetic field around the Earth. If the coronal mass ejection is still en route, its late arrival would spark no more than a minor G1 class geomagnetic storm on today's date, August the 2nd. A lot of activity on the sun. The sunspot number right now is 160. I mean, there are sunspots all over the surface of the sun. So set your watch. 3 hours from now, there should be another M-class solar flare. That's how often sunspot AR3380 has been exploding. It says extreme ultraviolet flashes from this sunspot have been ionizing the top of the Earth's atmosphere, causing a series of shortwave radio blackouts around all longitudes of our planet. So if this continues, ham radio operators may notice frequent loss of signal and other propagation effects at frequencies below 15 megahertz. Now, they've also hurled some faint coronal mass ejections into space. NOAA analysts are modeling them now to see if any will hit Earth, so stay tuned. We got lots of little, really little like M1, M2 class flares in the last 24 hours. So it'll be interesting to see what Jim's got for us here. Let's see, the last M1 class flare, it was just a little one, an M1, would have been at about 4 a.m. this morning. So almost like 4 hours before Jim was even listening. But it's always good to keep the big picture in mind here and see what we can learn from it. All right, before we go to Jim, let me take a look at our ionogram currently so we can see kind of where we're at, and then we'll look and see what it was at 8 o'clock this morning. Then we'll go to Jim. We'll get it in the right order here. All right, so looking at the ionogram for the ionosun in LP, Michigan, which, by the way, it's nice to see it's back up. Looking at the ionogram, we're looking at a F2 layer with a critical frequency of 6.238 megahertz. That F2 layer right now is at about 275 kilometers. That's how high it is. And there is an F1 layer. It's daytime, right? So that F layer at nighttime is just one layer, and it splits into 2 layers during the day. And that's what we have. I can see it here on this ionogram. So the F1 layer has a critical frequency of 5.23 megahertz. We also have an E layer. The E layer is right around, it's right around 85 to 90 kilometers at the moment, and it has a critical frequency of 3.4 megahertz. Don't see a lot of echo. I see the initial echo, but nothing else. I don't see any more echoes. So a lot of, quite a bit of absorption right now at the D layer. The sun's still this time of the morning. If you were to look at the ionosphere at nighttime, well, you would see 3, 4, sometimes even 5 echoes bouncing back and forth between the ionosphere and the Earth, because there is no attenuation, because there's no D layer at all at nighttime. But here at this time, that D layer builds up and it starts to really absorb those signals. Okay, so the important thing here, the MUF, the maximum usable frequency right now, the maximum usable frequency actually was at 10:30 a.m. this morning, so about 10 minutes ago, was 19 megahertz. 19 megahertz. So if you wanted to talk the furthest on a single hop, on the first hop, which is out to about 3,000 kilometers, about 1,800 miles, about to the west coast, you would probably, well, you would definitely want to be on the 20-meter band at 14 megahertz. So 19 megahertz is the MUF at the moment. Now let's look at our ionogram at 8 o'clock this morning when Jim was listening. Okay, there we go. August 2nd. Let me get the right time. The time thing can get a little tricky here sometimes. Make sure we're looking at the right one here, which would be 1200 Universal Coordinated Time, or 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So at that time, the maximum usable frequency when Jim was listening was 15 megahertz. So the 20-meter band would have just been open. So maybe Jim didn't hear any beacons, or if he above the 20-meter band, higher than the 20-meter band. If he did, they would have been really pretty weak. So don't be shy though, Jim. If that's not correct, let us know. Remember, this ionogram is generated by a piece of equipment about 250 miles from us. So those conditions and our conditions are not necessarily exactly the same. But it's interesting to check it. So again, 15 megahertz was the maximum usable frequency at 8 a.m. this morning. Let's go over it, Jim. Let's see what he's got for us here this morning. He listens to all those beacons all around the world to see which ones he can hear on the higher bands. That's 20 meters through 10 meters, all those higher bands. And then we asked Jim for a noise level or noise floor reading on his S meter for the 80 and 40 meter bands. All right, KE8ERN, I'm going to turn it over to you, Jim. Go ahead.
This is KE8ERN. I really had a problem this morning. I couldn't tell whether somebody stole my antennas or my ears weren't working properly. Anyway, the only stations I heard was very weakly. You could tell that they were there, but I couldn't really distinguish what the signal was or anything. It was Australia, Japan, and Peru on 20 meters, and I had nothing on the higher bands. And another thing that was rather odd was I had an S0 through the whole band on 40 meters and S0 through the whole band on 80 meters. Go figure. Back to you, KE8ERN.
All right, Jim, fine business. Wow, that really lines up actually with what we're talking about here. So we made a prediction that Jim would not hear anything above the 20-meter band, or if he did, it'd be really weak. And that was the case. He didn't hear anything above the 20-meter band, and what he did hear on 20 meters was pretty weak. And that was Australia, Japan, and Peru. So that lines up with what we're looking at here. The MUF was 15 megahertz, right around the Alpena, Michigan area. So Jim is just beginning to hear beacons from Australia, Japan, and Peru. They're on 14,150 or 14,100. That's where he listens at. 14.100. I believe that's the beacon frequency. So that lines up right on the money here with what we're looking at. Now, what's interesting looking at 80 and 40 meters is Jim's noise floor. So Jim had an F0 on both bands all the way across the bands this morning. And that is interesting. Because if we look back last week, Jim had S5 all the way across the 80-meter band and S2s all across 40-meter band. So it's really quieted down for Jim, which is kind of interesting. Sometimes, there's a lot of things that could cause noise on 80 and 40 meters. Thunderstorms, right, if you're listening more in the evening in this part of the country. Solar flares will do that. Matter of fact, they can even cause a complete blackout for a period of time on 80, especially 80 meters, 40 meters. And then there's localized noise. Computers, somebody in the neighborhood might be running something that's electric that creates noise. And whether or not Jim ever has that condition is hard to say. Those kind of things sometimes are hard to pin down. But what we do know is he's got S0. That's amazing on 80 and 40 meters this morning. I would check too there, Jim, to see if my radio is still connected because normally when you go on to 80 meters and 40, but especially 80 at this time of the morning, that noise floor is going to come right up. An interesting test for Jim to do. An interesting test for Jim to do would be if Jim were to look at his radio right now, and assuming it's still S0, and it might not be now on 80, it might be S5 or something for all I know, but if it were S0, the next time, Jim, you get an S0 on 80 or 40 meters, just unscrew your antenna for the back of your radio, and I'm sure obviously it should show S0, right? And then when you screw it back in, boy, it's hard to believe it stays at an S0. Normally on that band, even noise generated in your radio room or in your neighborhood, well, it's going to show up on your 80-meter radio or 80-meter band. But hey, you can't argue with what the meter said. I recorded it. Jim, thank you very much. Did you get any other comments?
Yeah, there was something else out about this on 40 and 80 meters. There were stations talking on those, and I was able to hear them real clear, but the noise floor was zero through the whole band.
That's awesome, Jim. Actually, when you get a low quiet noise floor on 80 and 40, that for working DX, that's amazing. I mean, it's just a great time to do it. Now, let me say this. What I've noticed, and maybe some of you are too, when we get these solar flares, they can create bad conditions, and then they also at the same time, well, not the exact same time, but over time, create unusual conditions where 1 minute things will be really poor condition-wise, and then all of a sudden you may have really good conditions. And so it's hard to say, but again, we had like 4 or 5 M-class flares in the last 24 hours. They were little ones, but yet we still had them. And that bombards our ionosphere with ultraviolet light. And so maybe that's creating these conditions, and maybe in Jim's case, it's created a really, really low noise floor. Hey, Jim, thanks for the report. It's really interesting. And, we're just trying to read the meters and try to make some kind of, best guesses as to what might be happening. Ron will get more. I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but last week in the Ohio section again, Bill had reprinted another really great article from Carl Schwab, who's really, really good at HF propagation, writes excellent articles, and he's got a different approach to how he analyzes propagation reports from FOCAT. That's the Voice of America's propagation reporting software. Probably some of you might use it. And we'll talk about that more at a later date. I thought it was a really interesting article. It was super cool, the procedure that he talked about. And maybe we'll save that. Well, we will save that for another day. We'll get more into that. It ties right into what we're doing here. All right, Jim, thank you very much for the report, taking the time to do that for us at 8 o'clock in the morning. Heck, for all we know, you're still getting up, getting around, drinking your coffee, but we appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to check the radio bands for us and give us this report. All right, before we get into the tropospheric ducting report, are there any other stations with or without traffic, anybody with a signal report, or any returning stations called out? Okay, let's take a look at the tropospheric ducting report. This time of year is kind of interesting when you watch. There's 1 or 2 days in here that look pretty promising. Let's see here how things look here as we start out. All right, taking a look at, let's see, let's get up here. Here's 2 o'clock this morning. Here's 5 o'clock this morning throughout just about all 3/4 of Ohio, except for the very northeastern part, where we're under marginal conditions for tropospheric ducting today. Stays that way right on through the day today, actually. I'm looking at 11 o'clock this morning, and then it starts to really die down by the time you get to 1 to 2 o'clock this afternoon. But prior to that, like right now, the band's in marginal and a few spots of fair conditions. Now to move up here to tonight at about 8 p.m. all along Lake Erie or over Lake Erie, you're looking at high to strong conditions. Quite a bit of the rest of the state's in marginal. You get down along the Ohio River, you're looking at high conditions for tropospheric ducting. That kind of stays like that, especially over the lake, moving right on into Thursday morning, and it continues to improve going into Friday morning at the wee hours at 2 a.m. If you were up at 2 a.m., things start to really pick up in northwest Ohio where you're fair to moderate. Now, moving on into Friday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard, and as you look back towards northern Indiana, it gets high to strong. So you get that path going across the northern part of Indiana into northern Illinois over Lake Michigan. So take a listen, somebody, this Friday morning at about 8 o'clock this morning, check 2 meters out, call CQ, see if you can work some long distance your radio. You never know who might answer you. Bumping it along here. August 5th at 2 a.m. The north central part of Ohio is under high conditions. This is the patch under high conditions. Most of the rest of the state's marginal. You get down along the Ohio River again and you're at moderate conditions. You get north up into southeastern Michigan and you have high to strong conditions. Again, that's at 2 a.m. Saturday morning, August 5th.
What's going on?
So that sticks around, kind of spreads out as you get into Saturday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Things kind of settle down until we get to Sunday, August the 6th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. You're looking at northwest Ohio. Again, moderate conditions, moderate to fair conditions, and the rest of the state under marginal. So another nice time to maybe take a listen on 2-meter simplex would be Sunday.
What is going on?
I think those conditions pretty much continue to exist when we're right until pretty much all of western Ohio. You're looking at moderate to fair conditions all of western Ohio. So we'll watch and see how the band acts when we're on our repeaters system Sunday night. And again, that'll be Sunday night at 8 p.m. Going into Monday morning, the wee hours, you're looking at marginal to fair conditions throughout most of Ohio. And work any long haul simplex on 2 meters or on 440, let us know. I always like to write a report at the maps, the archives, and just see how it matches up. Try to learn something. All right. Don't forget, if you get on the radio and you're listening, you don't hear anything, call CQ. There may be other people. Good morning, the mobile station. I think it was Kilo Charlie 8 Whiskey Alpha Mobile. Do I have it right?
Negative Kilo Echo 8 Whiskey Alpha. Say again, Kilo Echo 8 Whiskey Alpha Mobile.
know that. But thanks for look at amateur radio on the International Space Station. And a couple things to talk about there. Where they did a special slow scan TV experimental transmission on the crossband repeater for some teachers at the ARRL at their location there in Newington, Connecticut for I think they had a STEM kind of program going on there, and they were working with a group of teachers there, so they ran that special experiment. And so I got some information about that. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But first, let's take a quick look at the status. So currently, crossband FM repeater still up and running on 144.99 with a PL tone of 67. That's what you transmit on. Excuse me, you listen on 437.800. Now, like I said last Wednesday, they did an experiment and sent a slow scan TV image on the downlink of the crossband repeater, which is 437.800. And I'll talk a little bit about that. It seemed like they had good cooperation. Nobody was causing any issues trying to use the crossband repeater during that experiment. So hats off to everybody that paid attention to that. There's a whole bunch of other on-off periods that'll be coming up. They don't have the times. They're to be determined later on, so we'll give them to you when we get them. Also, the radio, the Kenwood radio in the service module, which is on 145.825 simplex, is the radio used for APRS packet. And I'm going to talk about a neat little mode on APRS packet here a little bit later on, too. If you've never used it before, try it. Fire up your APRS station, your map, and man, when the ISS comes over, you're going to see all kinds of stations line up on your map. They also will be shut off on August 9th at 12:15 UTC or 8:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and they'll be turned back on at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on August 10th. All that being said, no school contacts, or none that in our area. They got one scheduled for Japan, but nothing that we're going to catch in the footprint of the satellite this way, so nothing to report there. I'm going to go to Bob here in just a second before I do. Are there any other stations that would like to check in? Anyone that would like a signal report called out? All right, sounds pretty quiet. Bob, WAAGBT, I hope you had a good weekend. What's happening, Bob? Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff, and good morning to everybody on the net. Yeah, enjoyed the last weekend. Went to the Hamfest in Indiana at the Court Museum. Hamfest was small, but it was a pretty nice Hamfest, and it was inside the museum itself, so we got to tour that. And the museum is bigger than I thought it would be, so if anybody is in that area, I'd recommend a stop at that. This weekend we do have another Hamfest. This one is the Columbus Hamfest. It's one of my favorites also. This is at the Aladdin Shrine Center, 1801 Gateway Circle in Grove City. And the exit is Stringtown Road. That's the first exit south of 270 on the south side of Columbus. And as soon as you exit, you have to make an immediate turn back and circle back along the exit ramp where you got off, and it's back in a kind of an industrial area back in that area. Admission is $5 at the gate, 12 and under is free. They do have tables available, $10 a table, and outdoor flea market space is $10 a space. So they don't reserve any tables inside. So if you do want one, you just have to show up there, and vendors start setting up at 6 a.m. So you want to be there early if you want to get a table. Talking for the Hamfest is 146.76 with a PO of 123.0. as far of President Calvin Coolidge's inauguration in August 3rd to the 6th from 1400 Zulu to 2200 Zulu from Plymouth Notch, Vermont. And it looks like they're just working, well, they got phone band for 20 meters, and they got NEO.RO box, all the original paperwork and the supplied accessories, and an added single sideband filter. He also has an LDG Z817 auto tuner with the cables. He's got the portable zero rails and the spider wrap. If you're interested in any of that, contact Kilo Echo 8 Delta Romeo Romeo at his call sign Kilo Echo 8 Delta Romeo Romeo at gmail.com. Well, this one more here. Here's a short one for sale. P-Cars. They're selling a Kenwood TS590 with the matching speaker. Basket $950. If you're interested, contact Jim, Alpha Charlie 8 November Tango, and his call sign, Alpha Charlie 8 November Tango, at the letter J, the number 3, solutions.com. Right, lots of nice stuff there. Wow, an FT 991A, like brand new in the box. Sounds like a good deal. Before we continue, are there any other stations that would like to check in, or anyone else that would like to do another comment? 407252052. Back to you, Jeff. WJBT. Wow, really good information there. I'm going to repeat that. Anybody looking for some snake hardline? This guy's got 185-foot rolls. I don't know how many rolls he's got, maybe just one, but maybe multiple rolls. In rolls of 4 foot in diameter. And if you're interested or you have questions, contact Ken, Kilo 8 Tango Victor. And again, I'm going to repeat the phone number. It's 440-725-2052. So, wow, it might be a good deal for somebody. Thank you, Bob. That's good info. Appreciate that. Questions on the 7/8 hard line? I want to make sure in case anybody needed anything repeated there. All right, let's keep on moving on here. I mentioned earlier here that when we were talking about amateur radio on the International Space Station last Wednesday afternoon, just a little bit after 4, they did their special slow scan TV transmission on the UHF downlink frequency from the crossband repeater. And maybe some of you got to copy it. You know, I walked out on the back deck with just an HT, just a Bofang HT, and a little rubber duck antenna. Excuse me, it was my FT70, my ASU FT70 portable with the rubber duck. And just stood out back there. I was able to copy it and decode the image. And it was interesting because it took a little bit here to make sure we were on the right track. It was a little confusion because normally they always transmit TV images on the VHF frequency, not the UHF frequency. Usually always, I believe, on 145.800. Repeat. So this is a different frequency, kind of unexpected sort of thing. And of course, like I said, they asked us not to use the crossband FM repeater so that they could transmit on that UHF frequency for the instructors there at the ARRL headquarters in Newington, Connecticut. Well, anyway, hopefully maybe some of you got a chance to try copying it.
Like I said, I was able to get it. I was able to eventually decode the image. Now, I ran into a problem at first in that I tried to decode it, and I wasn't having any luck. It wouldn't decode. I just get garbage characters. The image was nothing but noise. Make sure I can say that right. It was just an image of noise. However, listening to the slow scan TV recovered audio, it was a pretty good signal I had recovered. It was pretty strong. So I was kind of surprised at that. Excuse me. So I did a little research there, and of course they say most of the time they will transmit slow scan TV using PD 120. So I thought, well, man, that signal's too strong not to be able to be decoded. So I put the software that I use, slow scan TV software, into automatic mode, where it listens for the very beginning of the transmission, and if it can copy using, I put it in auto mode. By the way, I recorded this on a little handheld audio recorder, so I was able to play it back numerous times. And so I played it back, and it captured the proper format. By the way, was anybody that's familiar with some of and there's a whole slew of slow scan TV formats. This particular one was called Robot 72C. Robot 72C. So once I put the software in automatic mode, it matched that Robot 72C configuration, set the software up accordingly, and now I was able to decode the image. Yeah, I had a fair number of noise bars in it, but I got most of it. I was pretty pleased with it, considering I didn't really use anything other than a rubber duck and an HT. It was pretty moderate setup. And we double checked here in the article here, got to see the actual image that was transmitted, and hey, lo and behold, it looks almost just like it. So anyway, I thought I'd just kind of share that experience with everybody a little bit. Remember, if you're trying to copy any slow scan, you run into that. You run into that type of situation. If your signal's strong enough and maybe you've recorded it, because if you only did it in real time, you're only going to get one shot at it. But if you have a recorder where you can continuously play it back, detect the information, and that ended up doing it for me, so I was pretty happy about it. REI, this is the North Central Ohio Information Traffic Net. Just taking a look at a couple other things that are happening here. We mentioned this last week. I would mention it again because it looks like a worthwhile thing to participate in if you like to work with emergency communication, especially here in the Ohio section. PTE, Report Collection and Progress. As mentioned in last week's postscript, an agency of the state of Ohio will be conducting a field exercise in the coming weeks, and it will be looking for observations from the field. This is not a free form or general request. It is information in a specific format that may be transmitted by voice or printed digitally. Details of the report, so you can take a look. The link is included in the article. That says security and resilience of your communities and the state. Sovereign Military Order Malta. I seen them on the packet cluster the other day, and I tried to work them. I heard them in there pretty good on 20 meters, but I was not able to get them on 20 meter sideband. Anyway, the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, I think you got 1 day left to try to get them. So we'll be listening here today and tonight too. One of the more interesting and coveted entities to confirm is 1 Alpha, Sovereign Military Order of Malta. The Order of Malta's Italian Relief Corps, SISAM, amateur radio station 1 Alpha Oscar Charlie. Again, the call is 1 Alpha Oscar Charlie. They were going to be activated, or they were activated from July 26th, and they're going to be operating right on up through today. Today's the last day, August 2nd, at the Magistral Villa on the Aventine in Rome, Italy. Bill says that by the time you hear this, there's going to be only a few days left. In this case, there's 1 day left, but it'll be well worth the time and the commitment. As a reminder, this is a separate DXCC entity, and it currently ranks number 77 on Club Log's DXCC Most Wanted list. And just a little added information, it says, as a tradition, this activity will be connected to a charity project. All the proceeds and donations generated by the DXpedition will be utilized to support the reconstruction projects that the Order of Malta has for the flood in Romagna. Activity is expected to be on 86 meters, along with the low Earth orbiting satellites and QO100. And the 1 Alpha Oscar Charlie website is at www.1alpha0charlie.com. All right, so good, pretty good stuff going on there. I think we'll take a pause here for a second, see if there are any other check-ins, and then I got a few other things to cover before we get into looking at some schematic diagrams. Taking a look at the FT991A today will be the last time we do that. And I think Jim had a Kenwood TS450. We're going to talk just a little bit there about that phase lock loop board and that radio. All right, before we do, are there any other stations with or without traffic? Anyone else that would like a signal report called out? Wanted to mention, last week when we wrapped up with that there, I mentioned there were 3 things that we were going to try to accomplish last Wednesday. There were all kinds of activities going on. Well, the first one we already talked about, and that was the slow scan TV crossband repeater transmission, the experimental slow scan TV transmission. We covered that one already. However, there were 2 other things that were happening Wednesday evening. There was a Zoom meeting from the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club talking about QSO parties, specifically the Ohio QSO party. And I was able to log in there. They had a nice meeting. I was disappointed I didn't get through the whole thing. I got a phone call about halfway through, so I didn't get to catch everything I wanted to hear. Maybe some of you might have got in there and got a chance to do it. If you did not, you missed an opportunity to learn all about these QSO parties, and specifically the Ohio QSO party. And that'll be coming up here this month. So if you missed it, I don't know that they're going to hold any more meetings on it, at least at the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club. But we'll keep an eye out. If we hear any more about it, we'll be sure to pass it along. And you can check it off. Just look up the rules for the Ohio QSO party. You can find them right at their webpage. I want to mention the other thing that went on last Wednesday evening, and we'll go on tonight as well, and that's the Toledo, Ohio 6-meter simplex nets. They have a whole schedule here. I'll just rattle off real quick, but I took a listen last Wednesday, and the nets are always on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and they do them on different frequencies and in different modes. It depends on which Wednesday of the month that it is. So last Wednesday would have been the 4th Wednesday. We took a listen on 52.525 FM simplex. I put a lot of calls out, never got any answers, and I did not hear any stations. Now, sensitive my Midland 6-meter radio is, and I have a long run of cable. I'll have to check and see what it looks like sensitivity-wise. My guess is there's probably people up around the Toledo area operating 6-meter simplex. I just obviously could not hear them, and they apparently couldn't hear me, or if they did, and they were answering me, I did not hear them. But I wanted to bring it up again. Bring up the simplex nets on 6 meters again, because it's a good activity, especially for anybody that's up around the Toledo area there, or anybody that might have a nice 6-meter station, simplex station, where you can punch out a pretty good signal, and you got a good set of ears. Here's what you want. Again, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The first Wednesday of the month, they're on 50.4 a.m. So 50.4 a.m., that's the first Wednesday. We're on 52.525 FM on the second Wednesday. They're on 50.125 upper sideband on the third Wednesday of the month. Then the fourth Wednesday, and if there's a fifth Wednesday, they're back on 52.525 FM simplex. They also list an additional net on Thursday nights only at 9 p.m. It's on 50.255 upper sideband. And that apparently is every Thursday night at 9 p.m. on 50.255 upper sideband. They have a net. If you're ever up around the Toledo area, they have a 6-meter repeater in downtown Toledo. The repeater transmits on 52.11 with a PL tone of 103.5. And it receives on 53.11. So if you're in the area, you got 6-meter capability, which most people do now. Take a listen up around the Toledo area. If you do listen to for any of these simplex nets on 6 meters, let us know if you hear anybody. Like I said, last Wednesday I tried it on 52.525 FM. I didn't have any luck, but I don't have that good of a 6-meter station. So some of you give it a try and let us know if you hear any activity up around the Toledo area there. WBAREI, this is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Net. Just wanted to make a couple comments here on our Seneca County Fair last week. I got to meet a lot of the local radio club guys out there. Had a great time. I went out Friday afternoon about 4 p.m. Then we stayed till about 9 p.m. Got to work the HF radio. That's one of the stations we operated as a special event station for a little bit there, and had a good time. Also got a chance to learn something. Whenever I go out there, I always run into a ham, Zach, KDUHO. Zach's a really sharp young guy, and he did a little demonstration for me for Chat GPT. You guys have heard of Chat GPT, the artificial intelligence software that's free to try out. And so he gave me a little demonstration of that. Man, was I impressed. It's really something to see that. While we were looking at it, I asked Zach if he would generate maybe a report on HF propagation using ChatGPT, and he did, and it was quite involved and really specific and fast. It was just amazing to see that done if you've never seen it done. While I was at it, I asked him, hey, generate a report for the ASU FT991A phase locked loop. And he did that one, and it was awesome. And I wish I would have had a copy or kept a copy, because I would have read through it real quick here for you so you can hear what it sounded like. But if you've never taken a look at it, I guess it's free. It's online. Just Google ChatGPT and read about it. You might find it really interesting. It was my first exposure to it. I've heard of it before, but had never really seen it used. And so hats off to Zach there really, really cool. WD8REI. Anybody else that would like a signal report? Anybody else that would like to check in? Call now.
This is KM8YOR mobile.
Mike, there's Mike, KM8YOR mobile. Hello, Mike. You sounding good from the mobile there. We got you checked. We actually had you checked in, but we got you checked in for real now.
For real.
Well, thank you. Tried to get in from the hospital, but that wasn't going to happen. My mom's in the hospital, but she's doing okay. Thank you so much, and I'll keep listening.
Hey, Mike. Well, sorry to hear about your mom being in the hospital. Sure hope she's doing okay there. And glad you took a minute to get in here with us. Radio sounded good. Good job. Anyone else before we continue? Call now. I gotta talk. Well, this should be the last time I talk about the special event from the KPH commercial CW station. I've talked about this about 3 weeks in a row here now, but this will be the last one. And I'm bringing it up because we finally received the certificates. Anybody that was able to copy the Enigma encrypted message, decode it, and send it in a 72-hour window of time there where they emailed you a nice certificate. So we got that. Really super cool. Already got it in the frame. It's in the frame, so it's going up on the wall with the rest of the certificates. Man, the whole room, I'm going to need more wall space here pretty soon. I really enjoy doing that. If you've never done it before, a lot of these special events, Bob lists a lot of them. Check them out. They're really fun to work. Some of them are really interesting. You learn all kinds of different things. In this particular event, decoding the cryptographic message was a little bit of a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. I know Ron was on here too. I know Ron was successful in completing the message as well. I wanted to mention here just a little bit about the message itself. There's a little history to it. There was something really interesting, I thought. When I read last week the actual CW portion before it was decrypted, up in the header, they sent there's a header that's not encrypted, it's in clear text. And one of the words was the word looks, L-O-O-K-S. And I just scratched my head because I know some of it was in German, but I didn't know what the L-O-O-K-S meant. So here was an explanation. The message was transmitted, first of all, 81 years ago. This was an actual message from a U-2 boat, a German U-2 boat. It was transmitted 81 years ago by a fellow by the name of Captain Lieutenant Hartwig Lux. That was his last name, L-O-O-K-S. He was the commander of the German submarine U-264. So the message was actually intercepted by the British destroyer HMS Hurricane in the North Atlantic in 1942. Now, when I cross-checked those coordinates with how the Germans did that, sure enough, it takes you right back to a coordinate there in the North Atlantic. It goes on to say this was during the 10-month period during which the code breakers in Bletchley Park were unable to decrypt the Kriegsmarine radio traffic due to the introduction of the notorious M4 Enigma code machine. So the looks message, as it has become known, was unbroken, or was not unbroken, until just not too long ago, in the year 2006, when a dedicated team of Enigma experts deciphered it cool. I wondered what the LOOKS meant in there. Now I know that was the name of it must be like a captain lieutenant or something like that by the name of Hartwig Lukes. He was the commander of the German submarine U-264. And that was a real message transmitted. Imagine that 81 years ago and only decoded just back in 2006. It took a lot of brain power to do that. So very interesting. Learned a lot about history, World War II, and those U-2 submarines. So I think that's all we're going to talk about on that. But quick check, KEPX, Ron, did you get your certificate? For the Enigma machine, no, I haven't. Yeah, check your, when you get a chance, if you check your email, excuse me, I was trying to remember, I don't remember if it was emailed under Maritime Radio Historical Society or it was under a name, Kevin, I think it was Kevin McGrath, and you'll see it in there, Ron, you'll see it, and it's a really nice certificate. If you like wallpaper, you might want to, I printed mine out, I put mine out on photographic paper, and the wife stuck it in a frame here, and I was just slap it up on the wall. But it was a nice one. Okay, yeah, look for it. You should see it, Ron. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else was able to do it or not. Anybody? I'm pretty quiet. We'll have to keep it on here. Just a quick update here. We were talking about AM radio in automobiles. A lot of manufacturers were talking about not wanting to include them in automobiles anymore because of the noise generated by electric cars generated into the AM radios. Anyway, I had filled a survey out and I got lots of letters back from Congressman Latta, Senator Sherrod Brown, and Senator J.D. Vance. Boy, they all responded with individual letters here. And so they're in the process of keeping the ball rolling here for keeping AM radio in automobiles. As a matter of fact, it said here the Senate Commerce Committee will consider the AM radio for every vehicle act this week, which was just within the last week. So maybe in the upcoming weeks here we'll see some response to how that all went. But I always kind of keep an eye on that. AM radio, I just really enjoy it, try to support them as much as I can. All right, I mentioned one other thing here before we get to the schematics here was with regard to APRS. There's a really neat feature if you have APRS capability. If you have a packet TNC, you just need to get some software to run APRS, and you can do some neat things. Like I said, the International Space Station, for one, it's your own satellite that flies over that allows you to work APRS via the International Space Station. Well, there's another neat feature. I have not yet got to test this one out, but I'm planning on doing it here within the next week. And it's called Weather Bot, as far as how you go about determining how long, how forecast, rather than giving days, you give it in hours. This is the format, and they have a web page as well. So WBAREI, this is the North Central Ohio Information and Traffic Network. Take a look at our schematic diagrams here. If you haven't already done that, you want to grab a PDF of the ASU FT991A schematic or technical supplement. You'll see lots of links to them, and they're all pretty similar. If you get one in front of you, we're looking at the phase lock loop board. Looking at the phase lock loop board here this morning, and what we've been trying to do here is kind of describe to you what we do. And the whole idea is to have a little bit of fun and brush up on identifying schematic components in on a schematic diagram. And so if you could do that, pick out something that you would like to describe and get on the list here, and we'll give you a chance to point that out for us. Or if you just want to ask a question, or maybe you want to describe something about the phase lock loop in the AC 991A, by all means you can do that. That will earn you 1 point. It just so happens today is the last day in this series on this radio, and we'll total the score up and see who our champion is. And our champion will win a lotto card for a chance to win who knows how much. So that's kind of the idea, to have a little bit of fun and to brush up on some skills that we learned when we were first getting our licenses. So all that being said, if you had a chance to get your phase lock loop diagram in front of you and you want to point something out, we'll build a little list here. So anybody that would like to identify a component or have any comments about the radio phase lock loop board, call now.
KEADRN.
ERN, Jim, I have you on the list. Stand by. Anybody else? KEAPX. Ron, KEAPX, got you, Ron.